Welcome back to more Rule of Rose. And before we get started, I want to show off something I missed at the end of the last video. That creepy little boy can watch us at any time he wants. In today's day and age, that probably gets censored out. But it fits that dirty feeling that a lot of this game has, as you'll notice. By reading this sign. Read the sign, Jennifer. Thank you. This just talks about putting rubbish in the rubbish bin and dirty laundry in the filth room, which is our home base for the first couple of chapters of this game. And once she clicks on it, there we go. This just invites us to the Red Crayon Aristocrats Club. Not exactly a group we want to be a part of, but we really don't have much of a choice. And I thought I would show this off. At this point in time, these doors are locked off. And I thought that was a different way of showing that doors are locked. There are still locked doors, but it's kind of nice they threw that in there too. Just some kid being a little brat, so you can't go into that door. Just a nice twist on the typical game mechanic of a locked door. And that's something I've always said about games. I like when a game can take something that's pretty standard and do something slightly different with it. Kind of like the combat in Fatal Frame. More nonsense about the Aristocrat Club. This breaks down the hierarchy of this club. Diana is the leader, and then it goes down, as you will see. Not seeing much of Jennifer here. Oh, well, there she is. Interesting, she's already on the list. But we do need to find out more about this gift of the month. Here's some more information on the power structure. It took a lot of effort to read off the things that I'm going to read in this video. I wasn't doing this too. You can pause any of this that you want to read. It's always nice to get some good background lore for the world that you're going to spend time in any form of fiction. And this game has a ton of it. And I mentioned last video that for some reason this emulated version of this game is incredibly dark. I will try to see what I can do in editing to brighten it up a bit, but no guarantees. So far I haven't found any option for doing that. I can make it darker, but nobody wants that. Near as I can tell, my video editor doesn't have a basic brightness function, which seems strange. The girl has found a strange door, but where does it lead? We will find out later on this chapter. That will be next video. This chapter is pretty lengthy, so I'm splitting it into two. Most videos in this series will be one chapter at a time, but there are some longer chapters that I will be splitting into two videos. This tells us that the gift of the month is a butterfly, which we will hear more about in a bit. That is a gift box. There are items you can put in that box besides just the gift of the month, and you can get rewards. Yeah, that's not going to work. As the unlucky girl stood helplessly, the door spoke. Give me a beautiful butterfly, one per person. Is that clear? No gift, no entry. Is that clear? And just repeating the same thing. Find one and you shall be invited to join the Aristocrats Club. This music reminds me a lot of a piece of music that can't be good, from a TV show called Airwolf. It's an 80s action helicopter TV show. In the pilot, let's take a look out this window before I continue that story. Looking out the window, the unlucky girl saw that she was above the clouds. The airship slowly swam through the clouds, carrying the helpless girl inside. Well, we at least know what kind of craft we're on now, so that does answer a few questions. There's also a save room you can go in over here. For some reason, during certain chapters, it's locked. I'm not sure why. But during the pilot episode of that show, the main character would play a cello. There were 2 or 3 scenes where he was doing that, and he was playing the song. I'm assuming it's a classical piece of some kind. But it reminds me a lot of this music. Or that music reminds me a lot of the music he was playing in that episode. It's a really cheesy TV series. If you haven't seen it, I think it's one of those things where it's of the time. If you didn't grow up with cheesy 80s action shows, you're not going to appreciate it more than likely. Yeah, when you get hints from this dude, there is one in chapter 7, I believe, where he's basically going to lay out the entire plot of this game, and I will be showing that off. That should be video 8, since this chapter is being split into 2 videos. That's as far as I am in the game now. There are a few other things that we can look at. I don't know how much we want to take a look at them, but we're going to. This is a medical room. We've got a couple people in here. The young girl met Clara, the frightened princess. And she's frightened for a good reason too. As the princess looked down, she spoke to the girl in a feeble voice.
How dirty?
The unlucky girl met Hoffman, the strict teacher. When Hoffman caught Jennifer looking at him, he snapped at her.
Dirty wretch. Why are you always shirking your duties?
Hot calling the kettle black? Here I was trying to get a decent camera angle to show off this table. It looks like something with stirrups that you might use to perform some kind of a pelvic exam on a woman.
Don't look into there. No.
And as you can tell, Jennifer will not look in there. And there are also straps on there, which is interesting. It's also worth noting that Hoffman is a teacher, not a doctor. Why is he sitting in that room with a student? Interesting stuff that we will get more information on later. I don't know if it's ever explicitly stated, but there are definitely heavy implications as to what's going on with those two. And I did trigger warning at the start of this LP because of things like that. Well, there's a butterfly. We need a butterfly. But it looks like somebody already has their sights set on that one. So we're not going to worry about that right now. This game, its subject matter does get very dark. Much like these visuals on this emulated version. There is literally no other option for playing this game. Unless you want to spend $800 on a physical copy, which I do not. That's more than a modern console. Plus a couple of games. Well, this is unfortunate. It would appear this poor dog has been tied up. The dog was all alone, tied up and hung from the ceiling. With no means to cut the ropes and free him, the unlucky girl could only stand and watch the poor creature struggle. Poor dog. We will have to see what we can do to help him out in the future. For now, it's time to leave. I am a dog person. I don't mind cats either, but I do prefer dogs. That's important. That is the map of the airship, I believe. Definitely useful. I don't really want to own any pets, but I do like playing with them. Mainly because I don't want to deal with the responsibility of having one. Also, I live in an apartment, and that's not really fair to an animal. I know a lot of people have pets in apartments. I think they're kind of shitty for doing that. Cats may not be as bad, but especially a big dog in an apartment, not a great idea. They need open spaces to roam. And for some reason there's livestock on this airship. Or a Zeppelin, if you will. But I am a fan of dogs, and I don't like to see them suffer. The young girl met Eleanor, the princess as cold as ice, not willing to sacrifice. The princess shot an icy glare and said,
Yes, she is a pain.
She will have a part to play in this story. There are a few characters we get introductions for that I'm not sure if they really play a part in the story at all. I know, buddy. We will do what we can to help you. And we have yet another livestock area. I think pigs come into play later on in this game. Not as far as I've gotten, but I think they are a thing later on. Goats are definitely a thing for chapter 5, I believe. There's a section where you can pick 3 different chapters and you can go in whatever order you want. I think that's going to be video 6 of the LP. Will be the Goat Sisters. They're annoying. Speaking of annoying, we're about to meet another new character who is very important to the story. The young girl met Wendy, the lonely princess. The princess saw that the girl looked confused. She smiled and said,
You're the new girl, aren't you? I'm Wendy. It's nice to meet you. Oh. She feels unwell when she's lonely. Are you sad when you're alone? No one wants to be alone.
That really depends. Sometimes I really like being alone. Sometimes not. It's a hit and miss thing. You will notice these characters that we're meeting talk about her being a pain. There's a lot of talk of Jennifer being dirty, which I have my questions on that. I will try to do some research into that as I go throughout this playthrough. That didn't happen. But at the very least, whenever Clara mentions dirty, I don't think she's talking about Jennifer. The unlucky girl met Diana, the strong-willed princess. She's a bitch! As she gathered her courage to speak to the princess cursed.
She's such a pain. What? What? She really annoys me. What?
All right. And we just passed by where Jennifer would sleep, apparently. So there's all this talk of she's such a pain, she's dirty, this and that. And that actually does make sense. That camera angle will be important later. But I do wonder if they are talking about somebody else. I know the broad strokes version of this story, but I don't know everything about it. The girl met Thomas, the mischievous prince. The prince, who had been busy with his antics, finally stopped to speak to the girl.
A new girl! A new girl!
His voice sounds way older than that character looks. This is a news article about an airship that's been built. It's the largest one in England. And it's going to sail from someplace in England to India. I say sail, fly, float, whatever. And it also mentions that some children from an orphanage are going to be there for the ribbon cutting ceremony. We've been to an orphanage and we've seen a lot of children. And this also takes place in 1929. I believe we are in 1930 as of the time of this game. Either 1930 or 1934. It does say in the chapter introductions. The young girl met Martha, the queen of cleaning. The queen glared at Jennifer as if she was filthier than dirt itself.
Filthy wretch.
Now she, I'm sure, is talking about Jennifer. And there's some crying. I hate crying. Not a fan. I don't like dealing with it at all. But I suppose we should be nice and see what's wrong with this child. The unlucky girl met Olivia, the tearful princess. As the princess cried on, the girl gathered her courage to speak to her. Oh, but the tearful princess just cried on and on and on and on and on and on. Somebody needs to call the wambulance! Oh, there's a butterfly. We need a butterfly. Oh.
You deserve to be gobbled up.
You little bitch. I know she looks like she's only 3, but piss off. Although she does give Jennifer her first weapon of the game. Combat works basically like any other survival horror game, Silent Hill, Resident Evil. You hold R1 to go into a battle stance and X to attack. Unfortunately, we are not going to get any ranged weapons in this game. I think there is an unlockable gun. Apparently it's weak, but you can pick that up. I'm not doing the side quest in order to unlock it. That's right, kids, there are side quests in this game. And apparently the gun is not worth the effort. There is one I am working on. I'm about 4/5 of the way through. Be sure to pick up that item. Those clover doors are important to this chapter. We will be unlocking them next video. There are a few more things we can look at. This is the female toilets. That talks about a crack in the mirror making it seem like there's a man in the mirror. Which is wonderfully creepy, and we are going to just assume that's an optical illusion. I did everything I could, but unfortunately there was no way to alter the video, so it's just going to be dark. The young girl met Xavier, the gluttonous prince. As the prince chewed with his mouth full, he spoke to her. Who is he, the game's librarian?
Did you hear the news?
Here he's talking about how witches must like to clean. They always have brooms. And he also hints that there might be some issues if we don't keep the place clean, because there might be some sort of beings that might come.
I'm telling you, we're in trouble now.
Out to clean us if we don't actually keep this place clean. Which is disturbing. And there's another optical illusion showing the orphanage. I'm not sure if that kid is important to the story. I haven't seen much of him since this encounter. You can probably imagine it's mostly girls that are important to the story. That and Hoffman and another guy that we will meet later on this video. And one other boy will be important. I'm not quite sure what I was looking for there. But I still want to show off the introductions to these characters as much as I can. Just to add to the world. Oh, there's more crying. Damn kids always crying about something. I suppose we should try to help. That is legit unsettling. And I love the music in this game. I've mentioned that before, but we've got intense combat music here, but it's not like something you would get in Devil May Cry or anything like that. It's a very different take on battle music, which I really like. And it fits the mood really well. And look, I know I can't see very well. I have trouble seeing this enemy. But this combat system is still not great. It's not so bad there, just facing off against one enemy. But there are going to be situations where we have to face off against multiple enemies. And that is going to be less than stellar. But it's a good thing we had that fork, otherwise we would have been in trouble. And we hear some kid reading aloud. So let's go ahead and listen.
There was an unlucky girl. All she wanted was to be happy. So she went to a clover field. She found a one-leaf clover, but she dropped it on the road. She found a two-leaf clover, but it slipped into the shadows. She found a three-leaf clover, but a witch hid it away. She wanted to find a four-leaf clover, but she was too unlucky. Once upon a time, there was an
That has to do
unlucky
with
girl.
the clover keys that we have to find.
All she wanted was to be...
Anyways, we've got a butterfly, so let's go ahead and give it to this door and see if it will let us in. Yes, give a gift. Green butterfly. And it looks like the door is not happy with Jennifer for bringing it a dead butterfly. Even though that's not Jennifer's fault. That would be Olivia. Little bitch. That's what happens when kids don't have adult supervision. Anybody who says we are good by nature is wrong. We're all a bunch of assholes. That story that kid was reading has to do with the clover doors. He mentioned a witch having the 3-leaf clover. And I think he mentioned where the 1- and 2-leaf clovers are. And that's our first key, which is the single clover key. In front of the unlucky girl stood a man in a brown coat she had never seen before. The man quietly handed her a storybook, this being the same story that we heard that kid reading. I'm not sure why we're getting this story now, considering we just heard somebody read it. The 4-leaf clover is a New Game Plus door. You get different outfits and different weapons with each outfit, which would make the game a lot easier to deal with. And it's a damn shame that they aren't available on your first run. I get it, I get having unlockables for a second run, but the combat in this game is so bad that it's a shame they don't give you something. But that's why I have an infinite health cheat, so that won't get in the way of the story, which is why we're doing this. Now, I'm not sure if that's the same little boy from the first video that we were chasing around the orphanage. I think it might be. I know who that kid is. And we will talk more about him in video 8. A lot of shit's going down in video 8. Then again, in video 7, a lot of heavy shit's gonna go down. This is another indication that that kid could look in on Jennifer and that we need that scissors. Which now there's a button we can press. Doing that will lower the scissors, so that will be useful. I got the idea from another game that I started playing, and this one reinforced it. It's weird how you get these single-use items. It would be cool if you have a protagonist in a game where you had kind of a tool belt situation where you might get a screwdriver, some scissors, different things that you just keep on you that aren't really taking up inventory space because they have their own dedicated slot, that you can just use these items whenever you need to, because that seems like something you wouldn't want to throw away. Although you never permanently discard items in this game. For some reason, these scissors talk to Jennifer and say maybe she'd be better off tied up instead of feeling pain, which is interesting and does tie into the overall theme. And then it says, "I'm so sorry," which, yeah, I can agree with that. This game is going to get progressively darker. However, that's next video's problem. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all then.